Today I'd like to talk about the child system. The child system, as many of us know, goes by many names: DHS, Child Services, CPS, and many of us know that it is extremely broken. I personally can speak of it on behalf of being a child who has had to go through it. I am an abused, neglected child. My parents, I had an alcoholic, abusive, inhalant abuser father, and I had a mother who was gone a lot of the time while I was a child. I went from that type of home to an abusive foster home who also had discrimination. I went through all that, as well as I've had them called on me because I've had people angry at me, because they didn't like my parenting, because they wanted me to move. So I've been through the system. I'm also an educator, or I was an educator before I took this avenue. So I've seen parents, and I've seen the system go on and on and on, and people who shouldn't have kids be keeping kids. And some of the scenarios in this video are from any of those scenarios. And please keep in mind that these stories are 100% real. They may scare you, they may make you cry, but it is time that, for the sake of the children of our world, of our country, that we unite and say enough is enough. Let's fix this problem and protect these innocent children, because someone has to speak up for them, and it is our job to do it. What would you do if a police officer is telling grandparents directions to escape with their grandkids? Because grandparents taking their grandkids, it's not kidnapping. So they give them directions, tell them how long to be gone, so that the search is called off or die down, and their grandkids are safe with their grandparents. The police are doing this because they cannot protect the kids, and Child Services will not protect these children. That's horrible if police are trying to protect them, but Child Services are not. Or what about the foster homes that are so crowded, or they have abusive foster parents who sit there and whip the kids with belts, who hide them in rooms crowded in to sleep in, who say, okay, you are the only two that are just like you. You're the only two white kids. All the rest are black. You're not playing with them. You're not eating with them. You are not to talk to them. If one of them would talk to you, you're the one that's going to get beaten. And this is a foster home. This is the temporary home that these kids are supposed to be living in, to feel safe in until they can get a permanent safe home. They may be going from a very bad home to an even worse home, and it may be a step better. But this is supposed to be their safe haven, and it's not, because Child Services isn't checking on these homes either. What would you do if you sat here and saw kids coming in with diaper rashes so bad that they're bleeding regularly, and the parents don't care? But doesn't matter. Or you have adopted parents that you know cannot sit here and take anymore, but they want to keep kids together, So they just keep forcing it and forcing it. I am sorry, and you guys may hate these opinions, but if you cannot have kids, like if it has been proven that you are an unfit parent, state, somebody, federal government, whatever, should step in and say, then fine. If you cannot handle having kids, then you should not have any more. You should not have the right to keep getting pregnant and giving that child up and making someone else raise that child. Have responsibility. And if you can't step up and have responsibility over yourself, then someone else should. Lastly, for right now, that is, at least lastly, what would you do? And in fact, because this one is so dear to my heart, and everything, and I want a call of action. I would pray for a call of action. And I have been given permission for a call of action. Indiana. There is a caseworker in Indiana right now that is allowing children who are being sexually abused to go back to the home in which they are being molested right now, just to keep visiting and everything like that, because children are allowed to touch children in their private areas. The caseworker is saying that. The caseworker at JC House is saying this. I know from my associate's degree, from my bachelor's degree, from being a parent, no one is allowed to touch someone else in their area. It is time that we, one, make them accountable. Child services needs to be accountable. Every caseworker needs to be accountable. They need to be held to a higher standard because they are looking after these children. They need to make sure that these children are 100% safe. Not, oh, these are the safety guidelines. Okay, yeah, they sound good. So yeah, I'll leave your kids here. We don't know if they're being followed. They need to do random checks to make sure these guidelines are being followed. I've had a caseworker say, oh, I'm just checking to make sure you have milk. That's really all we need to make sure. That's all you need to make sure that I am taking care of my kids, is that I have milk. That's ridiculous. They need higher standards to make sure these children are safe. They need random check-ins, not scheduled check-ins. They need higher demands of education, because obviously these two caseworkers do not have the proper education if they are sitting here saying that children are allowed to touch other children's private areas and it's not molestation or sexual assault or whatever the case may be. They are creating a cycle of victims at this time, and it needs to stop. They need to sit here and check in on their foster families. The government needs to sit here and say, if you cannot take care of your kids and you are not going to be responsible for your own body, then we will step in. Because it is time that we stop overpopulating the system by saying, hey, I'm just going to sit here and have 10 kids, even though I can't take care of them. I'm going to let someone else take care of them. Enough is enough. I am all for women's rights. But at the same time, we need to have responsibility. And if people can't have responsibility for themselves, then someone needs to step in and take responsibility for them. That way, we as a nation are not suffering from that one person's mistake over and over and over again. Please share this. I am not demanding, I am pleading, I am begging, share this. Make this a call of action. We need to fix the child system in this nation. Before we go on to other countries or anything like that, we need to fix our country and make it great again. We should not have children starving in our country. We should not have children abused in our country, neglected in our country, molested in our country, assaulted in this country. It needs to stop here. And please, spread the word. Let professionals hear that there are at least 2 people who have twisted the facts out there and are hurting kids, so that at least these 2 or 3 or however many kids it is can be saved. Because they should not be going back to that house and being molested more and more. They need to be safe. All children should be safe. Thank you.